Hey YouTube, you can ignore the blackboard behind me. I won't be using it at all, or whiteboard rather, that's just there. This video is in reply to some of the comments Eerie Parties left on my video on the solstice, which I will link below. What he said was he thought that people who celebrated the solstice were into paganism and devil worship, which I responded to some surprise that he made such a stereotypically conservative Christian assumption that paganism and devil worship were related, or that devil worship was connected to the solstice, which is correct. It's usually a pagan thing, particularly considering that he's most definitely not a Christian. I then, unfortunately, muddied the waters a little, so I just want to explain what I meant by pagan with a little p and not pagan with a big P. Don't know why I was writing in the there. Pagan with a little p is sort of a joke of mine from when I used to study Latin. Pagan comes from Latin paganus, which means redneck, pretty much. It's a country bumpkin. It's an insulting term for someone from the countryside, denoting that they're stupid and thick. And I was from the countryside, and so I was a pagan with a little p. It also means someone who's not a Christian. When the Roman Empire became Christianized, the cities, first of all, became Christianized, and the countryside took a longer time. And so the word for a country bumpkin, paganus, eventually became pagan, meaning the polytheistic people who still lived in the countryside who were looked down on by the city people and persecuted. But the way I used it was to mean that I was not a Christian and that I was a country bumpkin, not that I was a pagan with a big P, which is one of the newer religious movements like the neo-pagans, the Reconstructionists, the Wiccans. I don't know if they describe themselves as pagans, but that's usually what people would associate when they think of it. And I said that you don't have to be a New Age spiritualist, Asatru, or any sort of pagan to celebrate the solstice. Any excuse for a party, to be quite honest. I like to celebrate the solstice because it's real. It really happens every year. And saying that to people who are just like, why don't you celebrate Christmas, is great fun. Eerie went on to say, you're not an atheist if you're a pagan, which, assuming he meant the big P. He's a pagan, correct. I'm not a polytheistic believer, so I apologise if I confused it there. But then he went on to say, it seems like many atheists are into witchcraft and other dark things, which would make them non-atheists. No, you can believe some very strange things and still be an atheist just as long as you don't believe in God. So you can certainly get people who are into witchcraft who are atheists. I don't know what Wicca believes in any great depth. It's one of the ones that I haven't bothered to study much. I'm more familiar with Celtic Reconstruction paganism and Norse Reconstruction paganism, because I've read the sagas and I find them very interesting. Talk to people about them. Some of the people sub to me are, as far as I'm aware, Celtic Reconstructionists, and if they would make themselves known in the comment section if people want to ask them questions, because it's some truly fascinating stuff, lots of good holidays and traditions, and it's not a dark thing. Again, Eerie, for someone who's not a Christian, you're sounding an awful lot like a very conservative preacher. These dark things, one, I don't think they're real. I don't think there's such a thing as dark spiritual magic. I can get you. It's not real. The other is that no, very few atheists that, in the way Eerie used the term atheists, would be into witchcraft and stuff like that. Although we're friends with a lot of people who are. There's a reason for that. And that's because people in the paganism movement, Wiccans and so forth, generally aren't trying to shove their religion in our faces, aren't trying to tell us that we're going to go to hell, aren't trying to establish themselves as a state and church issue, aren't trying to control other people's lives. And when it comes to atheists who are into secularism, that's very important. And allies in the fight are not to be thrown away lightly. Particularly not when they have really good parties, which is why I celebrate the solstice as well. I said that, haven't I? I'm sorry, I'm not very well today. Eerie, you go on to say, it seems like the powers that be are tricking people into the dark arts by first tricking them into becoming atheists. I thought I was getting through to you a little in that the way atheists think and so forth. I don't believe there are any dark powers. Until you can show me that there are these dark powers, I still won't. I don't think people are being tricked into being atheists. I mean, belief is belief. It's how you come to it is part of. It's not an issue that you can really be tricked into unless you're lied to. So unless you think something is organising everything to make science and rationality and logic and demands for evidence a lie, to trick me into believing in atheism, just so that they can then give me something which goes against the rationality, science and logic that I believe in, which led to my atheism, I hope. Unless they're doing that to then trick me into believing in magic, it would have been a lot easier to take me from being Jewish into magic. Why would they bother going through atheist first? It's very odd, eerie. So that was a very rambly and quite long video for me. I apologise if it was rambly confused. I have 3 major points. Pagan, what I meant by that. Atheists and witchcraft, you can be an atheist and believe some very odd things. You don't have to be an atheist in the way that I'm an atheist, in that I hope I'm an atheist for rational reasons and that I'm trying to be a skeptic in everything. You don't have to, better way to explain it, you don't have to be a skeptical atheist to be an atheist. You can be an atheist who just doesn't believe in God and accepts other things which I would consider silly and nonsensical, like magic powers. And then I also want to say, tricking people in the dark arts, it's just far too Harry Potter. I mean, I was abused with that name at school, Eerie Parties. I don't really want to be tricked into the dark arts, and I don't think there are dark arts to be tricked in. You should stop watching crap films. Thanks very much, YouTube. Bye.